everybody, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, also as a side note for those of you playing, as usual, roll 20 for music if you guys care about that sort of thing. But Austin, I see you're already there, so I will have a little bit of ambience going.
Not there.
It says you're online on it. Well, I have music going, so pop onto that for those of you who care.
Oh, of course, live.
So, our journey began in the territory of the Shadow Lily Confederacy, where Zephyr, Lucian, and Gil met each other on the Tieshin Express, the railway meant to cross the verdant plains of the Confederacy's territories. The three, all coming from different noble families, the Kingdom of Tebedra, the Geogran territories, and the Wicked Commonwealth, respectively, made their way into the city, all not knowing each other, but intending to meet the same information broker who had something all of them wanted. However, when the three arrived, they found that the goblin they had been intending to meet had been transformed into a strange elemental monster that would come to be known as an Ichor Beast. Making their way out under the president's favor to the Tebedran territories, the party was accosted by the bandits, but Zephyr's nobility and connection to them allowed them to slip in with relative ease, only to be betrayed and captured. Escaping the barbarous troops that had come to make good on their alliance with the bandits, the party made an alliance with the bandits who had betrayed them to get in the good graces of the nobility at the summer ball. That would give them a chance to brush elbows with nobility and the rich, powerful aristocracy, and hopefully get some leverage over their enemies, who the Tebedran king identified as the Scar Concord, a mysterious group of political figures and rich aristocrats working for a mysterious figure known only as the Lady. Dressing up in their Sunday best, the party made their way to Mercurial in the Humor Empire, the capital city, knowing full well that this was territory controlled by their enemies. While being hosted at the summer ball, the trio made some new allies. Raccoon, the goblin bard, Caleb, Zephyr's brother, the Tebedran assassin, and Kero, a foreign ranger who is here under the stewardship of the Queen Blackthorn. Surviving the political underhanded dealings of the summer ball, the party managed to attempt to knock the knees out from under the Scar Concord's plans for the politicians at the ball, only to find themselves outsmarted and overpowered. Captured by their enemies, the party managed to escape by the skin of their teeth and flee into the Summersea Forest, where they managed to get into the good graces of Sundragon Kingdom soldiers, who offer them a deal. They will arrange a meeting with the Queen if the party is willing to investigate a mysterious set of runes where elvish travelers have been going missing and a strange magical signal has been emanating from. Investigating the runes, dealing with a troop of Geogran deserters, the party found that the runes were, in fact, not completely abandoned, nor were the elvish travelers going missing. In truth, they had been returning to where they intended to go, an underground, high-technology kingdom of elvish deserters who had long since abandoned Geogr and the other elvish kingdoms and made their own way, underground, scavenging off of the advanced technologies of kingdoms long before their own. Making their way into the high-tech, highly advanced city, the party immediately began rubbing elbows with crime families, making deals with drug cartels, information brokers, and mob bosses, to eventually arrive here. The party has made a deal with the Mother, the serpentine leader of the family, one of the most wealthy and powerful of the crime families of Edict. The mother holds Raccoon, their goblin bard, hostage, and their life hangs in the balance of the party accomplishing the mission. But they are being rewarded. In exchange for being offered advanced items from the mother's stores, the party is being asked to escort a worker of the mother into the Argos Republic, where shipments have been going missing, in the hopes of figuring out where said shipments have been disappearing to. But while they're there, there's nothing saying they can't make some moves against President Argos, who you all know to be a member of the Scar Concord, the young dark elf girl who was always seen clinging to the side of one of the other members. And so, as the party rests through their last days in Edict, for the time being, we turn our attention downwards. Wandering through the city, making sure the last of their affairs are in order before going to meet the mother, receive their new equipment along with their other party members, and be given the final details before being sent on their way to accomplish their mission. Qua, would you like to describe your character?
Yes, my character is a small Lovelander, which is a frog. Looks like a red-eyed tree frog of,
Okay.
to be specific. With her new outfit, she wears, like, a diving suit without the helmet that can fill up with water. And she has her trusty animal companion, which is, a kind of scraggly tiger who's young and a little bit stumpy.
All right. So, as you make your way through the ever busy streets of the underground city, you had a few last visits you wanted to make before going to meet the mother and presumably leaving the city. Caro, what would you like to do?
Okay. So, since it's on the way, the first thing on my agenda is going to say goodbye to the triplets.
All right. You make your way towards the docks, ready to head to the warehouse where the brokers have met you many times before. The guards let you in without issue, recognizing you from your several previous visits. And as you enter into the office-like waiting room, as per the norm, you see that the triplets are already there. Dressed up relatively well, or at least as best as you've seen them before, wearing matching dark purplish-colored silken jackets. Especially at this point, if it wasn't for their hair, you would not be able to tell them apart. It's just their hair and their small quirks and mannerisms that set them apart in this state. But Ledger, the oldest, gives you a smile as you enter. Ah, Miss Caro, what can we help you with?
I know you know, but I just wanted to come by and say goodbye for now.
You see, while the other two don't seem incredibly surprised, Ledger seems somewhat caught off guard by this, and his fingers twitch very slightly before he gives you a tip of his wide-brimmed hat. Of course. We'll actually be accompanying you to the meeting. We have some business with the mother ourselves. Perhaps we should go together.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more stop to do before this.
Of course. Perhaps we'll see you there then.
Yes.
Very well. In that case, I'll see you whenever you see fit to arrive. And he gives a very slight ghost of a smile before walking somewhat awkwardly past you. Marcus kind of stumbling to keep up with him. But Red, as he passes you by, stops and kind of looks you over before breaking out in a wide smile. And, oh, come here, you! And immediately wraps you up in a big bear hug. Your diving suit, meaning your poison is no longer a concern.
Carol hugs him back real tight.
I just love you so much I could just kiss you. And he kisses the top of your head before immediately, right, still poisonous.
Carol does not have hats.
He kind of gives a wide smile and, oh, well, if you had a helmet, we couldn't see that pretty face of yours. And he like immediately like scrunches up your cheeks and like runs his gloved hands over your face. Brother?
Just kind of molds.
Brother, we're leaving. Right, yes, yeah. I'll see you in a little bit. And he kind of gives you a playful elbow before almost skipping to keep up with his brothers who, as Marcus and Red make their way out, Ledger holds the door open and gives you a tip of the hat, allowing you to exit before him.
Yeah, Carol starts to leave and just thank you.
Of course. I'll see you soon. And he kind of adjusts his jacket. And if I may ask, who is your next person to say farewell to?
I'm going to say goodbye to Theta.
I see. His face is somewhat neutral and unreadable, but he gives you a respectful nod. As my brother said, we'll see you soon.
Yes, yes.
With that, the triplets escort you past the gates protecting the warehouse. The guards shut them behind you, and the triplets give you one last farewell before the two of you go your separate ways. You, making your way to the massive columnal elevator that separates Upper and Lower Edict. While you do not have the means to operate the elevator alone, I will say that you would probably have been aware that this is a problem, and would you have thought to ask one of your elvish comrades to assist you heading to the Peacekeeper headquarters?
No, she doesn't have the foresight for that. She's probably going to ask somebody nearby who's also going in the elevator.
Fair enough. It takes you a couple minutes longer than you intended, but as traffic through this area is relatively frequent, it doesn't take long before you stop to ask them. A crowd of elves going in ahead of you open the door, allowing you to slip in along with Garrow. The elves give you and your tiger respectful wide berth, but they've seen you going through the city enough times at this point to know that it is unusual, but nothing to be overly concerned about, especially as you are typically seen accompanied by peacekeepers. As the massive columnal elevator makes its way up to Upper Edict, the doors open, and you retrace the familiar path to Peacekeeper headquarters. You remember the way up to the commissioner's office, asking a peacekeeper for assistance with this elevator rather than taking the somewhat lengthy stair trip. The elevator takes you up higher into the headquarters before releasing you into the familiar, comfortable hallways where the commissioner's office is. As you were never told where Theta's containment would be, other than that it was on this floor, you can search if you wish, or just ask the commissioner, who, if you at a glance, appears to be sitting at his desk.
Mr. Commissioner.
The somewhat large elf kind of startles and looks at you and kind of shakes his head. Right. What can I help you with?
Where's Theta?
Right. Yeah. We had them transferred outside of the city. Someone who's more qualified to take care of such things than us. Uh, I can have an update sent your way if you wish. Are you planning to leave the city soon?
Yes.
He gives a somewhat nervous smile and a nod. Of course. I'll make sure Captain Voter knows anything as soon as I know it, and Voter can pass it along to Officer Neon, who, from what they've told me, you're going to be taking my officer off my hands for a little while.
Yes, he's going to help us.
Well, this is important business, so understandable. You'll be going with the Peacekeeper's blessing. I apologize that I was not able to inform you sooner about Theta's transference, but with everything happening, I've been rather busy, as you understand.
Yes, it's okay. I just hope Theta's okay.
He gives a smile and a nod. Of course, rest assured, they're in the best of hands.
Caro nods thoughtfully, just looks to him and just like, Mr. What do you think of this city?
Of edict.
Yes.
He pauses and stands up from his desk and approaches you before walking past you to the window that overlooks a lot of the city directly across from his desk. Not quite a balcony, but almost akin to one. I think this city is a miracle, honestly. Almost everyone in this city came here to escape from their lives on the surface. Countries and armies that they no longer held any loyalty to. Lives that were already over. Any number of terrible and tragic circumstances. And this city offers them protection. And it's my job, and the job of all peacekeepers, to make sure that protection stays solid and reliable.
That makes sense. I don't think most people here are bad. Just...
He gives you a bit of a smile as you mull it over and looks back to you over his shoulder. I don't think any person is really all that bad. I've allowed the peacekeepers to deal with more than their fair share of questionable characters in my time as commissioner. People aren't bad, just people. Everyone's got their reasons for doing what they do.
Yes. It's true.
What about you? From the story you all told me when you first came to the city, monsters and political conspiracy, other than your friend, none of this really seems to concern you all that much.
Well, when my friends and I were adventurers, we would do what people paid us to do, but we tried to do good things, you know?
A hero at heart, huh?
Maybe.
Well, probably for the best that you're leaving the city for the time being. I found that heroes don't tend to last too long down here.
Well, maybe a hero that you need just isn't here yet.
At this, he kind of hesitates and kind of looks you over with somewhat squinted, beady eyes before turning his gaze back to the window. Maybe you're right. When I first came down here, I thought I could be that hero, but as you rise up through the ranks, things get complicated.
Well, I suppose that's just life.
He gives you a smile. I'll give you that much.
Don't worry, you can still be a hero. All you have to do is keep thinking about what you want.
You really think so?
Yes.
Suppose you're right. Give Officer Neon my regards. I don't imagine they'll get the chance to pay me a visit before you all leave.
Probably not. We have only a few things we can do before we need to leave.
He pauses and considers for a long moment before... Well... If you ever find yourself in the underground again, we're not the only city like this, and you can always rely on the peacekeepers to keep you safe.
Yes, yes. You seem like good people.
He gives a somewhat tired-looking smile and gives a nod to the door. Go on, then. Go be a hero. I'll make sure Neon is informed as soon as I get an update on Subject Theta's condition.
Yes. And you be a hero too. Think of it as 2 steps. Think of what you want and go towards it.
Caro, make me a persuasion check.
Okay. I don't know if charisma is it's a good stat of hers.
You can do it, Caro.
Oh, a dirty 20.
Ooh.
He hesitates slightly before giving you a nod. Right. I just might.
She waves to him and gestures for Caro to come with
No,
her.
that's the pet you haven't adopted yet. Save it. Build to that. He gives you a nod, and there's a respectful silence as you and your tiger head back down the hall, down the elevator, through Peacekeeper headquarters, and back towards the columnal elevator. Is there any other stops you want to make before heading to the Free Flow Lounge to regroup with your party members and see about getting your new gear and your mission?
I think so. I think it should be fine now.
All right. Making your way back down into Lower Edict, you follow, while you do not know the route by heart, as most of the journeys you had been taking from this point to the Free Flow Lounge were deliberately muddied and difficult to navigate, you have been left to your own devices in the city long enough to at least get a vague feel for it. It takes you some time. You are confident by this point everyone else in your party has woken up and likely gotten there before you in the time it takes you to get there after all of your stops and having to re-find it. But heading back into the industrial district of Lower Edict, you make your way to the restructured heating area where the Free Flow Lounge has been constructed. And sure enough, immediately as you close in, while there is still the familiar music playing, you notice that there is not a crowd this time. Nobody present with the exception of the familiar massive bouncer at the front and the usual lights, but no sign that anyone else in the lounge is present. Although, seeing your approach, the bouncer gives you a nod and immediately holds the door open, allowing you entry into the lounge.
She looks to him and just thank you. passes by.
He gives you a nod and a grunt as the door shuts behind you. You find yourself back in the Free Flow Lounge, this massive chemical silo that has been restructured into a nightclub. While the flashing lights and loud music are playing as much as ever, sure enough, there does not appear to be anyone here, at least not on the dance floor. The dancers are not on their raised platforms. They're cheering crowds, not throwing money around like they can afford to spend it. No, all you see is the relatively empty Free Flow Lounge, and on the central flooring of the central structure where the private VIP dinner area is, you can already see the rest of your party and the mother surveying them as they receive their new duds.
Yeah, I gotta bounce over to the party. Just, oh, sorry I'm late.
The rest of you receiving your new equipment see Kara round the corner of the spiraling stairs to enter the dining area. The mother simply holds up a hand. It's no trouble. I see your suit fits you respectably well.
Yes, thank you.
She gives a grin and starts to turn her gaze to the rest of you, turning her gaze first to the large male elf. And what about you? Are you satisfied with your new weapon? Jeremy, would you like to describe your character?
Okay, so pretty. I was gonna say, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
A little closer to the mic, baby.
So, with my character, you see a 6'9" tall elf with long hair, light tan, pretty well built, wearing a green tuxedo and wearing gauntlets that don't quite match the sophisticated look.
Sophisticated in the first place.
Well, with the suit,
Yeah, it cleans up well, at least. Fair enough. The mother gives you a wide, fanged smile. Do you find the gauntlets are suiting you, dear?
I will look at them, squeeze my hands a few times. Yes, they are wonderful.
She gives a smile. Excellent. As you know, I work only with the best, darling. And she she turns her gaze next to the female elf sitting a bit of a distance from the rest of the group, poring over a collection of new items they'd received. And the Amanda, as the mother slithers over to check on your character, would you like to describe them?
Yes, you see a very fair-looking young woman, elf. She is wearing a ombre dress, black on the top, faded into red, with some stockings and dark shoes. And she is currently poring over everything that she got, like her books. And she's just kind of like waiting for her ring to see if it will fit. She's got green eyes and her hair is braided, red braided to the side.
The mother gives you a smile. Has everything taken your interest well enough, Miss Lucian.
Yes. Everything looks great. All I'm missing is my ring.
She gives a smile, and that will be delivered momentarily. She slithers past you to another of the party members. This one, again, sitting something of a distance away from the rest of the group, poring over their newly acquired stealthy armor. Austin, would you like to describe your character?
Yes, I am yet but a small cobalt boy of 2'1", red little scales, and with the snake lady's armor of stealth, which is, I believe, it is a mostly black suit, or like a black, I guess like a combat suit. I'm assuming, like.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. Like picture like a jumpsuit essentially.
Yeah. But he's got assortments of stuff on him, like his his feet. He's got his feet has the boots of spider climbing, and he's wearing an amulet as well, and frankly, he's just probably just a grumpy little boy, but he is. But
as the mother's massive coils, mechanical and organic alike, don't wrap around you to a constricting level, but just surround you as she looks you over. You all look simply darling in your new equipment. I think
so
Mother
we
has
do have
provided.
the new equipment now?
Mhm.
Okay.
She gives you a smile, Zephyr. I think Mother has provided for you well.
I guess.
She gives you a bit of a smirk and reaches down to pat you on the head. Don't be so grouchy. We'll be out of each other's hair in just a few hours.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
She flashes you a fanged smirk, as am I. And with that, she passes you by to the only member of the party who is actively close to you, currently getting comfortable in their newest garment, ensuring that it fits well. Hunter, would you like to describe your character as the mother approaches you?
Yeah, I will. So Caleb is a 14-ish year old human. He's not like, oh fuck, I fucked myself up. Hold up. Okay, so he stands at about average height for his age and about average size. And he has what some would describe as golden blonde hair, and it reaches just past his shoulders and has like a slight curl at the end. And he wears fine white and gold clothes, including a new hoodie of sorts, cloak hoodie thing that is white with gold trim. But white and gold seems to be a common color for him.
All right. As the mother looks you over with a wide smile, she nods approvingly as you look over the jacket's fit to you. Seems like you've taken to it well, dear.
We'll see how it goes. I do like the color.
She gives a smile. I only deal in the best. And as she looks over all of you, she taps the side of her head thoughtfully. And... oh, yes. I believe your officer friend is in one of my back rooms with my mechanics putting the finishing touches on their new armaments. If you'll all come with me.
I'll follow.
Yep. I'll just make sure that my armor's tied up, and I will go ahead and go too.
The mother escorts you all down the winding stairs onto the dance floor, and across it to a set of rooms that you have never actually been through before. And this is also one of the first times you've seen the mother actually on the dance floor rather than just surveying it from above. But as she guides you across it, she sways a little bit as she slithers across. Her coils leaving this massive, intimidating trail behind her as she enters in a code for a locked vaulted door that hisses open with, from the sounds of it, very powerful locks, and allows you all entry. Her entering
Could
it
I
last behind.
possibly see the code?
Make a perception check at disadvantage because she's actively trying to make sure you don't see it.
Okay. Let me see if I can do this.
She's well aware of that little mind of yours.
I know she's aware that I have a keen mind, because if I see it, I'm memorizing that shit. Alright, you said perception check?
Yeah, at disadvantage.
Okay.
God, I'm sure DMs love
Okay.
mine.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
19?
You kind of crane your neck to observe as she puts in the code, but you get she gets as far as entering in a 2 before she stops and her head turns to you and doesn't say anything. She just gives you a friendly smile, and her hand stays completely still as you watch it.
We're not meant to know this code.
Apparently no too.
I just kind of... Can I just give her the... Go on.
You feel the familiar metallic stinger of her tail reach into your collar and pull you away out of line of sight as she finishes entering the code and the doors open. As you all enter ahead of her, her bringing up the rear to shut the door behind you, she leads you down what you estimate to have once been maintenance tunnels, but refitted slightly, and it appears that they're working on turning this into an extension of the nightclub and dance floor, but it hasn't quite finished yet. You can see construction equipment and cleaning equipment. It's kind of scattered.
Construction equipment is.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Scattered to and fro, most of it in small labeled barrels, and she leads you.
Construction equipment is scaffolding.
And she leads you through a door on the right, where you see the triplets who had been providing your equipment going over the familiar armament, quote-unquote, of Morgan and Morgan's owner. Jacob, would you like to describe your character and mech?
So my character Neon is a 3.5 foot tall fennec fox person with primarily brown fur, but with some, or rather tan, I guess is a better way to describe it, but with some spots of white here and there, you know, on the muzzle and such. And the mech is is resembling a similar animal, except very large, and I believe I think it was 12 feet tall, 16 feet long. I think that's what it was. And currently Neon is heavily engaged in finishing the upgrades of their newly acquired flamethrower.
That mech is like 4 Zephyrs.
Yeah, let's start using if Zephyr lost like an inch of his height, he would be a good measurement tool.
That's the units of measurement in this world.
Yeah, it's Zephyrs.
Yeah.
Well, officer, satisfied?
I am now.
She gives a bit of a smirk. My engineers tell me you've been quite specific, but I can't deny someone who knows what they want.
Only the best for me, and especially for Morrigan.
Great minds, as they say. She looks over all of you as you all regroup and kind of glimpse over each other. All of you now outfitted with much different equipment than when you first started. The mother crosses her arms
I know
as she looks
people
over
gonna
all
be
of you.
looking at us weird whenever we get back to the surface.
Oh, most likely. And the mother gives a nod to the triplets, who promptly make themselves scarce from the small, somewhat starch and sterile-looking room scattered with mechanical parts, presumably for building or upgrading the various things the mother deals in. The mother, with her arms crossed, looks over all of you. So, I've given you all time. Are we still on for our deal?
Like to back out now.
Suppose
We-
that's true.
You know, if I'd call
Yeah,
it
we
a deal,
don't we keep
whatever.
our word.
She nods to you, Gil, and looks to you, Neon.
I'd personally call it a hostage situation, but whatever.
Oh, relax. Some friends of yours called in a favor that I think you'll be rather happy about.
That's right.
Indeed. Follow me?
Alright, I guess I'll follow.
She leads you all back towards
A
the...
lot of following today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, getting the party regrouped and getting a mission, so it's going to be a lot
If you
of...
think about it, there's always following in D&D because the party is following the party.
there you go.
Blind leading the blind.
Yeah, if that isn't D&D in a nutshell, I need to remember to make that this episode title, Blind Leading the Blind. The mother escorts you all back onto the dance floor, where it is no longer as abandoned as it had been when she took you away from it. Standing, or in some cases sitting comfortably on the raised platforms, you see the broker triplets, as Caro had seen them, dressed to the nines, and leaning against another raised platform opposite the brokers, another at least more or less elvish looking gentleman that none of you have seen before. They, at least at a glance, appear like they might be a wood elf, with somewhat sandy blondish brown hair, and equally deeply tanned skin.
Basically just hippies.
They have
I'll stop interrupting.
They have something of a farmer's tan. Their skin a bit leathered and wrinkled by sun exposure. But their eyes and hair are what take you all by surprise the most. Their eyes are a notable gleaming red. And unlike most elves, this appears to be an adult elf, but their hair is incredibly short. But rather than the clearly cut and maintained that way of some of the short-haired elves you've seen, this elf's hair appears to have simply grown short and stayed that way, having curls and natural ends to the hair that almost give them a sort of mullet, although it's well tended and made to look presentable. So overall, this gentleman's features do not line up with what you'd expect for an adult elf of his age. But looking him over, you can see they are wearing a maroon-colored bomber jacket with the fur collar, and relatively simple jeans and boots. And on their hip, their fingers drumming against it, you can see what you all recognize as something similar to something in Gil's possession, a laser pistol, and a similar armament, much longer and broader, slung across their back. A set of very thick-looking green goggles are strapped to their forehead, and you can see various mechanics on their boots, although you can't imagine to what purpose they serve. This figure watches with their beady red eyes the brokers and all of you as you enter, looking somewhat cautious and careful as all of you take to the dance floor at the mother's behest. And Ledger Broker steps forward with his hands clasped respectfully and gives a deep bow to the mother. We thank you for hosting us at your lovely nightclub, Mother. Of course, dear. Only the best for a fellow businessman. Yes. He looks to all of you and gives a very slow, almost imperceptible nod. Shall I discuss the terms of our new arrangement, then? You may. He gives her another nod and looks at all of you again. The mother and I have been negotiating. We will see to Miss Raccoon's safety personally. She owes us, well, rather, we owe her something anyway, and I suppose this little humbling will encourage her to treat our archives with more respect. But, in the interim, we will ensure her safety. And she, Ledger looks over all of you very carefully as he says this. And in exchange, well, nobody's business but your own, Mother. Of course. She smiles and looks over all of you before her eyes settle on you, Neon. Well, like I said, old friends turned in a favor. I suppose they didn't want the poor dear getting hurt if you were to disappoint me out in the field.
Better than nothing.
You can trust us to ensure her safety. The mother kind of rolls her eyes very slightly before slithering away from you, Neon, to look the whole group over. Well, if you're all ready to get going.
I have no complaints.
Let's do this.
She gives a smile and, using the blunter end of her stinger to usher some of you forward, she gestures to the unfamiliar elvish gentleman who lifts his head up with a somewhat lazy expression, his eyebrow raising slightly, seeming completely unintimidated by the mother as he stops leaning against the pillar and steps forward, putting his hands in the pocket of his jacket as he steps forward.
I'm all ready.
This is my driver, and, well, I would call him your escort, but I think it'd be more appropriate to consider you all escorting him. He gives a bit of a smile and looks over all of you somewhat casually before speaking up. So, which one of you is the one in charge?
Sweating nervously.
Caleb.
Well, we don't really have anybody in charge, but if you have any problems,
Kind
you
of
can come to
depend on
me.
the moment.
Yeah, you can come to me, or you can go to, I guess.
Huh.
Yeah, you just come to me, I guess.
He flashes you a bit of a smirk and glances to the mother and the brokers. I thought you guys said that they fought all the time. Usually that gets people at each other's throats in 30 seconds earlier. Ah, well. And he holds out a fingerless gloved hand, the glove appearing to be a tough, weathered, leather-like material as he shakes your hand, Lucian. Name's Barry Road. I'll be taking you guys through the Underdark. You guys just have to make sure that I don't get disemboweled by something.
How do you
Are
spell
there
his last
things that
name?
would do that?
Yeah, it's mostly stuff that would do that, kid. You're Caleb, right?
Yeah.
He kind of looks you over somewhat imperceptibly before patting you on the shoulder and moving past you. And Amanda, that is ROAD, like a road you drive on.
I will shake his hand and Lucien Elefikir, nice to meet you.
He gives you a smile. Pleasure. And you, big guy, from what I've been told, you're the guy who goes up front and has everyone shoot at you so they don't shoot at everyone else, right?
Pretty much.
He flashes you a grin.
I've been referred to as the meat shield.
Well, there's worse jobs to have, I suppose.
It's always entertaining. It's always entertaining. You never know what's going to happen.
Echo.
Yeah, Amanda, make sure you're muting your mic when he's talking. He gives you a nod. Yeah, I can respect that. And, officer, don't worry, I have not done anything illegal since I entered the city.
I like it.
He kind of looks you over, Neon, before giving a bit of a shrug. Strong silent type, huh? Fair enough. Well, silent type anyway. And he kind of like gestures with his hand at your short height.
Oh, Rada.
Let's just get this over with.
Better get used to me. You're stuck with me for at least a few days, officer. Don't worry, I'll get you through the Underdark lickety split.
Are we using a caravan?
You can call it that, surface dwellers, but we're going to be riding in style. And he pulls a small, what is almost akin to the remotes you've seen some people in Edict use, but it's very small, fitting into the palm of his hand, and has a few keys dangling from it. And hitting a button on the remote, you hear from outside the nightclub, even over the din of the music, this musical but deeply mechanical sounding horn.
I just hear
That's actually really, that is actually pretty much what it sounds like. But before I forget, scuba diver, what's your name?
My name is Carol.
He kind of looks you up and down. We're going spelunking, not deep sea diving. You know that, right?
Yes, this is to make sure I don't dry out and die.
Yeah, from what I'm picking up, the officer's sense of humor will do that to you.
Caleb is like,
Carol just looks to Neon with a surprised look.
That's what you can find water underground.
He kind of shakes his head. I'll explain the joke when you're older, kid. Let's see, who am I forgetting? And he looks over all of you before he looks over Zephyr before making an exaggerated motion of looking down at him. Oh, almost stepped on you.
Another little small squad.
Guy.
Small squad.
So,
As far as he didn't react to the tiger.
He's probably used to that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, no, he seems completely unfazed. He hasn't even glanced at Garrow.
I wonder if he owns a
Oh,
tiger.
did Garo get his armor yet?
Not yet. He will be receiving it on the way out at the same time as Lucien's ring.
Well, thought about it. Do you really want to waste it on him?
Uh-oh. I don't think Zephyr likes him anymore.
No, I definitely still like him. Out of character, I like him. In character, I mean, I still kind of like him. Basically. You know what? Sure. So, I'm going to, as he's looking at me, activate my stealth suit.
as you fade from view, all of you seeing Zephyr just vanish with the press of a button on his belt, he just grins and giving a bit of a shrug. Guess he's somehow gotten even smaller.
He turned into a zygote.
So,
I'll take your word on that.
so with that,
Hold on. That's gonna sound very dumb. What's a zygote?
It's what you are when you're still before a baby.
Yeah, when you're very small.
I didn't know what a zygote is.
A zygote is what you are before you are a fetus.
So also, just because why not? I would like to pickpocket him while I'm invisible.
You like to what?
Pickpocket him while I'm invisible.
Make a sleight of hand check at disadvantage because he did see you turn invisible, so it's not unreasonable that he would kind of know to expect it.
I'll see.
So Zephyr has the invisible thing.
First roll is 26. Second roll is 34, so 26.
So are you going to try and take anything off his belt, or just go full Skyrim, anything that isn't nailed down?
I don't know why I rolled twice, but either way.
No, yeah, because you had disadvantage because
Oh,
he saw you turn invisible.
For some reason I thought I was rolling for advantage, even though I took 26. I was like, but
yeah, it's all good.
I just something eat, grab.
I will say, as you get into position to do this, you can see it's not immediately noticeable to the rest of you as he's just kind of chuckling, but you can see his hands are protectively over some pouches and pockets on his belt, but you can see that his laser pistol in its holster appears to be exposed.
Sure, I'll take that.
As you slide it out of the holster, there's from the rest of your perspective, you just see the pistol disappear from its holster, and Barry kind of looks around and looks down at his holster and gives a kind of chuckle and shakes his head. Look, can we at least save the stealing from each other until after we're in the lawless tunnels?
Zephyr says nothing.
Zephyr will just kind of go back to where he was, uncloak himself with the pistol in hand.
Do you allow him to reclaim it?
Yeah, he'll hand it back.
He smiles as he takes and reholsters the pistol. I'm just giving you a hard time. We're going to have to get a little friendly with each other down in the darkness because, I'm not 100% convinced that one of you isn't going to try and eat me after a little bit of time, so just playing it safe.
Well, I have good news for you. I am a vegetarian.
Gesundheit.
Do we have rations, by the way?
Amen.
And all of you have your ration stocks noted in your inventories. You can check them if you wish.
Basically, did we buy it? If you bought rations while we were down here, then yeah.
All right, so let's get
14 days of rations.
We'll get the formalities out of the way first. I can get you to where you guys are trying to go in about 2 days if we take the express route, but Mom wants us to check things out along the way and see if we can't figure out where the caravan went missing, but once we find it, you guys are on your own, although I'd be happy to escort you a bit further, depending on what you want. I'm actually heading to Argos myself to make my own delivery.
So I guess we're just going to go look for the caravan first?
Pretty much, but you do that, Mom will let you keep everything you got, and you can use it on the president or whatever. None of my business, I'm not intending to rat you out, unless she pays me well.
That sounds familiar.
He even gives you a bit of a smirk. Law of the land, princess.
And what about the missing equipment? If we find that, what happens to it? Do we get to keep it, or does it go back to Mom?
The mother slithers forward with her arms crossed. Anything from the discarded shipment is, I suppose, yours to keep. Although, rest assured, punishment will be swift and thorough if you decide to get creative with its use. And she gives a very, narrowed-eyed smile to all of you.
Why, I'd never.
Oh, I'm absolutely certain. And that's why it won't be a problem. Barry kind of looks between the mother and all of you with a somewhat, kind of half torn between, things are, things are getting heated, and, almost like he seems to be hoping a fight's going to break out, and you can see his hand, his wrist flicking towards the laser pistol before it returns to his side and kind of tapping his thigh to kind of get the nervous energy out as he looks all of you over again. Right. Well, unless you are intending to fight my boss here and now, my car's out front if we want to get going, but if you guys want to do any last shopping in the city before you go, we can ride in style.
I honestly just want to get some coffee, and then we can go. Because it's the last time I'm going to be able to get any.
He gives you a nod. Sure thing, sweetheart. I know a good place not far from here.
And I could use some more food for our travel.
All right.
How long is the trip again? 2 days?
Yeah, he said he can get you there in 2 days, but from there you're on your own.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I have 10 rations. I thought I only had 1.
Yeah. Well, you'll have the trip to get our lady her coffee before we decide for sure. Any personal belongings you leave in my truck is mine to keep. Keep all hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times. And he finally turns his attention to Garrow. Is that thing house trained?
Yes, Garrow is very good at making sure he doesn't tear things up, right, Garrow?
Garrow just yawns and licks their lips.
I was just imagining cut to Garrow ripping up one of the couches.
I have some concerns about Garrow.
Wow.
I have some concerns.
It's nothing I'm not used to. I've transported animals before, but they always piss and shit everywhere. So,
well, it's not those that I am concerned about. And I'm gonna go over to Garrow and lift up one of his paws and push his little beans to shing out the weapons. Is these that I'm worried about?
Well, as long as it doesn't rip up my leather.
That's what I have concerns of.
I like this guy should have a deep
Garrow,
Southern
you
accent.
cannot rip up this man's leather.
Garrow just gives a yawns again before kind of shaking their head. All right, well, he looks between you all, the mother, and the brokers. Seems like you guys have a lot to talk about, and he clasps his hands together. I'll go ahead and get the car warmed up. You guys just don't shoot my boss. She pays well. And pulls the green goggles over his eyes before heading towards the exit of the Free Flow Lounge, leaving all of you alone.
As he leaves, I'm going to shout, as if we survive it.
He just throws a peace sign over his shoulders as he goes.
I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'm ready to just live.
Right.
The guy having a freaking mullet and shit, and he said he had a truck. This guy should have a deep Southern accent, just full on a redneck.
Before you all go, a few last pieces of equipment you were promised. And as she claps, the engineering triplets return with 2 suitcases strung between each of their hands, forming a neat little line, as the larger of the 2 is handed to you, Caro, and the smaller is handed to you, Lucian. The ring you requested, and the armor suited for your beast.
Thank you.
They
Oh,
I want to see which finger it fits on best. I want to put it on the finger that I used to have my house ring on, which would be my right forefinger.
which it does fit relatively comfortably. It's a little on the snug side, but it fits you relatively well. It certainly doesn't seem like it'll be uncomfortable to wear for long lengths of time.
Ugh, I'm getting fat.
And Caro, as you pull the armor out, it's a little heavier than you were expecting, but still seems light enough for Garrow to wear it without serious issue. And as you, what's up?
There was one more thing I wanted to ask him. Do I give the word of power now or like when do I give the word of power to it?
The sister of the 3 speaks up. You may assign it now. Just make sure it's activated and speak your word, and you'll be able to use that from that point forward.
Okay. I don't want anybody else to know what it is, so like I'm gonna like cup my hand around the ring, and I'm gonna whisper into my ring the phrase that we discussed.
All right.
We just
And Caro, do you wish to attach the armor to Garrow now?
Yes.
All right. Like I said, it's a little heavier than you expected, and Garrow kind of chuffs a little bit, but overall, it does fit. No serious issue to the fitting. Garrow kind of adjusts, wiggling their back slightly to the new sensation, but overall, as they kind of adjust to it, give a low sound and affectionately headbutt you in the waist. It fits them and seems like it'll protect them relatively well.
Caro.
does it increase his AC?
Yep.
Garo looks so cute, Caro.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, if you guys are curious for visuals, Garrow's armor is almost akin to somewhat looser knight's armor, like that kind of like breastplate to it, which is why it's a little on the heavy side, but it's a little looser and lighter to accommodate Garrow's lither frame and being quadrupedal. So somewhat loose breastplate, basically.
He looks fierce.
He looks amazing. I never thought about putting clothes on animals before. You know what we should do when we go to Wicket? We should try to get some clothes for Mishka and Kochka and try to see if they would let us do that. That would be so funny.
But why would an animal need clothes? They have fur.
Well, I mean, I think Garo looks really cool, so maybe we could find something really cool for Mishka and Koshka.
At the compliment, Garrow kind of woggles their head proudly.
Garo is
so
now
happy.
the fiercest beast.
And as promised, we will ensure Miss Raccoon's protection, and as soon as my favor is done, she will be released and free to rejoin you at her own leisure.
Would there be a way for her to know where we are? I guess we could message her.
In case you weren't aware, she will be in the presence of the greatest information brokers in the land. I'm sure she'll find her way perfectly fine.
Or was it that the mother said? What was it that the mother said that Caleb responded with? I think it was like, I thought that was the broker's job, and then she snickered like it was a joke.
Basically, like, knowing everything that happens in the city.
Caleb has been debating on mentioning this or not, but he knows how the brokers get when somebody doubts their information.
Yeah.
But he's not certain who they'd get mad at, him or the person who said it.
Well, are there any comments, questions, or complaints about the specifics of our deal?
Questions, comments, or concerns?
She gives a nod.
No, let's get my coffee and let's, what's the expression? Hit the road?
She gives a smile and a bit of a shrug. When in Atlantis, do as the Atlanteans do.
I haven't heard that expression in a while.
She shrugs again. I've been told I'm not very good with metaphors, but I believe our current situation is much like the old saying, you attract more flies with salt than you do with honey.
Debatable.
Alright, I'm gonna go find myself some coffee.
I don't know what she's going to do about coffee when she gets on the surface.
That's a future Lucian problem.
That is a future Lucian problem. But right now, Lucian is like, coffee!
Lucian just needs like caffeine just injected into her veins. That's what she wants.
Well, I wish all of you luck, and I hope that my fantastic armaments suit you all well. Mr. Rode will take the liberty of keeping me updated, so if you make an attempt to silence him, I will know. Good luck. And with that, slithers away from all of you towards the central pillar with the dining area. The club will be reopening for business in 2 hours. I suggest you clear the premises before then, not after, unless you intend to partake in the festivities.
I'll pass.
Caleb is like, I have a feeling I'd get kicked out either way.
As she heads into her office, leaving you all alone with the brokers on the dance floor, Ledger gives you all a nod. Well, I suppose we should make ourselves scarce.
Agreed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you very much for
Echo,
what you've done.
Sorry.
that's fine.
He gives a bit of a smirk, and it's only fair. We will ensure her safety. If she wants to get to her, she'll have to go through us.
Isn't your business information?
Yes, and we are the best information dealers in the city.
Well, I guess if you have good information, then you know about the problem before it comes, and then you can just, run away from it.
He smirks a little bit. In this case, I don't think we'll necessarily have to, but that's our problem to deal with, not yours. The point is, your friend will be safe. We can guarantee you that. We're gonna stay up all night watching movies. She's gonna get popcorn stuck in her little weird goblin teeth. It's gonna be great.
Don't. Don't let her have too much candy or she'll be crawling the walls. Maybe quite literally.
Red immediately turns to Ledger. You always yell at me when I climb the walls. Ledger just promptly and completely ignores him and continues walking towards the nightclub exit. No, come on, we're having a discussion here.
It's fine.
And turning on his heel towards the rest of you, almost as if he has completely forgotten the previous conversation. Oh, I'm really going to miss you guys. Oh, this city's going to be a lot quieter without all of you. It was real fun hearing all the different bosses bitching and moaning about you guys double dealing and stuff. It was great fun.
Well, if you're lucky, we'll come back and cause a bit more ruckus.
He gives a very wide smile. Oh, I can't wait.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully,
You can't have
well,
yourself.
hopefully you won't
You
have to
can't
wait. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, hopefully you won't have to wait too long. Well, hopefully you won't have to wait too long.
Red gives you a nod. Of course, I'll make sure I eat my greens so I can live that long. You guys, make sure you sleep with one eye open so you live that long.
And for a favor, and I will, I'll have the little sash on and I'll kind of tighten it. You never know.
Are you suggesting a form of Ledger came completely to a stop as soon as you said favor to rejoin the group, and looks to you as you tighten the sash? Are you suggesting a form of advance payment for future information?
Let the chips fall where they may.
Get me something I don't already know and we'll talk.
As you wish.
As you all walk here. It's dangerous, what all of you are doing. You have your hands in so many honey pots, it's only a matter of time before the bees come.
Yeah, there's certainly one kind
Only
of
the
thing
queen
we may
would
have to
do.
deal with.
Well, in my experience, bees are delicious.
An interesting way to look at it. You almost malaproper as badly as the mother herself.
What?
He means you talk funny.
Oh. Well, I mean, yes.
The point is, just keep your eyes and ears open and be cautious. Word is, you've attracted the attention of just about every crime family in Edict, and things may even be spreading to the other cities of the troops at Turdu. The underground is going to get very interesting for all of you if you keep traveling through it, not to mention what's happening on the surface.
Yeah, I think we've run into about everybody. I even ran into these guys that were burning something down for some reason.
The firebugs.
Apparently, I guess they just like to burn things.
Yes. They let us not get burned, though.
I prefer to not be burnt, indeed.
Well then, it's a good thing you're leaving then. With that, you all, with the brokers in tow, exit the free flow lounge. The disco music becoming a slight
No, after you
background
said that,
element.
I was like, good for us or good for them?
Let the chips fall where they lay. As the disco music becomes something of a background element, with the doors shut and the bouncer retaking his post, the brokers step a bit away from your group as you all gather up on the sidewalk outside. Well, I suppose this is where we part ways for the time being. You've all made rather interesting help.
I will see you later.
I can only hope so.
And it gives a smile.
Use the information we gave you wisely. It's more valuable than any gold you have on your person. And my brothers and I sincerely do hope that you're able to make good use of it. We'll be keeping an eye on all of you. And all three of the brothers glance to Lucy and Sash. But in the meantime, farewell. I'll see you guys later. I'll make sure to have a pot of tea going. Probably going to be cold by the time you get back, but, tea. And Marcus just gives you all a very quiet nod. And with that, the brokers...
Wait!
Yes, Miss Carol?
She toddles over to Marcus to give him a hug.
Marcus kind of like flinches and twitches a bit, and just kind of holds his arms out like he's not really sure what he's supposed to do. And you all can see Red like mime to kind of like almost walk him through the process of hugging, and Marcus kind of nodding slightly, awkwardly. Amanda awkwardly returns your embrace, Caro, and they don't say anything, but they give a somewhat low.
I will learn how you talk one day. But for now, I hope that was good.
And they give a nod with their wild, scraggly hair.
Carol is just like nice incarnate.
Yeah. A friend to all. They're a capybara.
A capybara?
Yeah, they're these animals that are like famous for like everything loving them.
I thought it was capybara.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Both are probably
It doesn't
valid.
really matter. Like either way.
With that, the brokers, in almost practice synchronization, turn on their heels and walk with hands in pockets.
Imagine them being like those like characters in like those like old shows who just show up. They're all walking in sync and they're like doing like the snapping.
And with that, the brokers make their way away from you into the ever-present smog and haze of Lower Edict and disappear. You're all left on the sidewalk, not for too long, before you hear a distant and with a bright pair of headlights, a vehicle, presumably that owned by Barry Road, pulls into view. You all see
what was his dad's name? Rocky Road?
Looking at the vehicle that drives up to park alongside you all on the sidewalk, we would all know it in the real world as a military-style Jeep, one of the ones with like the opened cloth-covered back to allow for the transport of a lot of people at once. Sitting up front, you see Mr. Ode himself, who, using his leg to kick open the door on the other side of him, flashes you all a grin. All right, one person can ride shotgun, two in the back, and the rest of you are going to have to sit with the cargo.
Let's sit with the cargo.
I'll go sit with the cargo.
Suit yourself, little man, big man.
I am curious.
Caleb will get in the... So you said there was a seat in the front and a seat in the back.
Yeah, the seat next to him in the front, two seats in the back, and then everyone else has to sit in the, essentially, where, soldiers would be in the back of, this military-style Jeep.
Been shotgun yet?
Caleb was speaking up first, so, but if he
Okay.
doesn't, then no one else has called it yet.
Caleb will... Caleb gets first dibs. Caleb will attempt to sit in the front.
All right, Zephyr, Lucian, Caleb climbs up into the Jeep to sit shotgun. Are the rest of you good with that?
Lucian was gonna go sit towards the front, but when she sees that Caleb wants the front, she'll go in the back and get out one of her new books and start reading.
All right. Caleb, you take shotgun, looking over all the unfamiliar mechanisms, and he gives a smile as you sit, doesn't seeming to be unhappy with it, but holds up a hand to get your attention. This is my baby, not yours, so don't touch anything. Hands to yourself.
Never
Okay.
did get my coffee. I will be very grumpy.
We're on the way. Don't make me turn this Jeep around, young lady.
I bet I am older than you.
All right, sorry. Don't make me turn this Jeep around, you old bat.
I like it.
Fair enough.
So,
How old are you, by the way?
Don't you know it's
Barry.
rude to ask a lady her age?
She's gonna laugh. She's gonna laugh.
You're not a lady, though.
I'm old enough to drink. That's all that matters to you.
So, how will,
Touche.
how will travel work?
I'll be driving. You guys just make yourselves comfy and try not to wreck my baby. And once we get where we're going, you guys will look around on foot. And at that point, if we want to stick together, that's up to you guys and how deep your pockets are.
So you mentioned it will take us 2 days. Are you going to drive for 2?
He gives a bit of a smirk. Much as I've been willing and able, I'd rather not chance it. We'll stop for the night. There's some safe spots along the way. Well, safe, and he does air quotes.
Well, we can always ask Chan to keep out a look for us.
He gives a nod. I'll take your word on that.
He'll go. Zephyr will go on.
All right. And as you sit up in the back with Lucian, Zephyr, Barry kind of...
The backpack.
Oh, like cargo bag. Got it. All right. So Neon and Zephyr in the very back, Lucian in the back seat, Caleb shotgun. Gil, you said you're going in the backpack as well?
I got the whole back to myself.
Yes.
I'm spreading out.
Well, Kara, where are you and Garo
and
sitting?
Tiger.
Wherever there's room, really.
So the back seat is open, but Garo looks like they'll have to go in the backpack.
Garo, we have to go into the back.
Garo kind of like shakes their head somewhat grouchily. I don't want him scratching up my leathers. And he like pats the headrest of your seat, Caleb, as Caro and Garo start making their way towards the back. And so, indeed, Lucian, you have the back to yourself.
Heck yeah. She's like spread out, got her books in her lap. She's starting with Alchemy 101.
So for layout convenience, again, this is basically a military stylized Jeep with jungle camouflage paint and a light green cloth covering the back. Other than the cloth covering and the open back for you guys essentially in the bed of the truck, it's essentially just open space like you would expect the bed of a vehicle like this to be. And for those of you sitting in the front with Barry, it's essentially just a fairly typical truck interior, although you do notice little knickknacks decorating the headboard closest to you, Caleb, like a few just little like strange figurines that he seems to have collected over the years, a pair of fuzzy dice hanging from the rear mirror, and indeed the seats Caleb and Lucian you are currently relaxing in are an incredibly smooth and comfortable and expensive looking leather.
This kind of remind me of the leather seats at home.
I don't know how this guy's gonna react, but Caleb's gonna he starts he's gonna touch one of the figures.
He does seem to see you doing it, but while he does watch as you do it, he doesn't make a move to stop you. The figure closest to you appears to be it doesn't appear to be like actual gems, but it at a glance appears to be a sapphire figurine of a frog. Although again, it does not on closer inspection, it appears to be a smooth, rocky substance rather than actual gem.
Oh, okay. Caleb just kind of leans back in the seat.
All right. While we're getting your coffee, Princess, I have one pit stop I need to make. Mom asked me to make a few extra deliveries for a bit of extra cash, and I don't know if she told you, but that cargo's strictly her and I business. So
I
don't
kind
go.
of hold up a hand. Just do what you need to do for you and Mom. We're just here to do her errand.
All right. I just don't want you yelling at me whenever she stings you in the neck or whatever, because you decided to stick your noses in it.
As long as
And
we
with
get
that,
my coffee, we're good.
All right. And Caleb, you can hear him mutter to himself slightly as he pulls the stick shift of the truck, and it immediately roars more fully to life and begins to pull onto the streets of Edict and away into the smoggy streets of the city. Lucian, assuming you're going to pay for the coffee, it'll be 6 silver pieces.
No problem.
He pulls in to a relatively populated-looking cafe, and looks over his shoulder. All right, you guys stay here with that one, and he points to Lucian, to make sure she doesn't kill the barista for her coffee. I'm gonna go pick up my cargo, and I'll meet you right back here. All right? I'll only be gone a few minutes.
Okay, gotcha.
Give a thumbs up.
I'm gonna go get in line for my coffee.
All right. So, Lucian, doesn't take you too long. It's not particularly difficult or anything, thankfully. You purchase yourself a cup of coffee and immediately feel so much better upon taking your first few sips. And you all sit in the outside area of the cafe. It's not exactly great views of the city, it being the industrial parts of Lower Edict, but it's coffee, and the atmosphere is relatively cheery as workers on break go to and fro on the streets. You all have a few minutes of privacy before Mr. Rode returns with the mother's cargo that she requested he transport. Would you all like to do or say anything while you have this moment to yourselves?
Well, there is one thing Gil wants to do. After seeing how well Lucian's enjoying her coffee, he's going to go inside.
It's really fun.
And he wants to see about buying a bunch of coffee grounds so they can make more for her later on.
The barista, a young-looking elvish woman with her dark brown hair tied back in a braid, looks a little confused at the request, but all right. How much are you looking for, sir?
I will put 15 gold on the counter and say, how much can this get me?
Just a second. And she scoops the gold coins using her apron as a improvised carrying for it, and retreats to the back. You're left alone at the counter for about 3 or 4 minutes before she returns with what look like 2 fairly impressive jugs of blackish brown powder, which she, with a heave, plops both onto the counter. The server reckons that this should be good for about, assuming you're using this stuff every day and actually know how to make it, probably about a month's worth.
Don't.
Well, I suppose it'd be more accurately about half a month, but still better than nothing.
That will suffice. Thank you very much.
Of course, sir. Thank you. And she gives a somewhat nervous bow to you as you take the massive jugs of coffee grounds and bring those with you. You may add 24 essentially doses of coffee grounds. You can attempt to mix those into proper coffee. And you all see Gil return to the table you're all sitting at with the powder in tow. Do you all want to get breakfast while you're here, or do you intend to eat on the road?
Yeah, definitely get some breakfast. Like, she definitely got some breakfast with her her coffee. Maybe like nothing too terrible. Maybe like a tart or something.
All right. So Is there anyone else besides Lucian who's getting breakfast, or are you all gonna just eat your rations on the road?
Rations.
I want to eat my rations.
Kara?
Hmm. Let me see.
Well, stuff.
Caleb, you gonna get breakfast or eat on the road?
Yeah, I'll eat here.
Maybe we'll get some breakfast.
All right, those of you who are getting breakfast, it's 4 silver. If you don't have the silver, then you'll be given some change. But if you have it, 4 silver for breakfast. And Lucian, that's on top of the price for the coffee. Bear in mind.
So, I will say though, seeing Caleb getting up and getting breakfast, he would like to go to Caleb.
All right.
Oh.
Caleb, as you walk in to place an order at the counter, Zephyr catches up with you.
Yes?
Well, I have something to give you.
Oh, good. I like getting things.
Well, with this armor I have no need for it, and I was thinking about giving you. Seem to be better. You always kind of been better at getting around stealthily, but going to pull out. He's gonna pull out from his bag boots of elven kind and hand them to you. They'll be I acquired these not too long ago, and they seem to be good at getting around unnoticed. So I figured it would help you.
What do they look like, by the way?
They appear to be a somewhat used, like they have like that kind of layer of like kind of grime and dirt to them. Somewhat used leather boots that once belonged to an elf, but were found by Zephyr in possession of the Reapers.
Zephyr has
Oh,
possession.
okay. I guess Caleb will take the boots.
All right. So, Caleb, you may add boots of elven kind to your inventory, and
There's one more thing. When Caleb comes back and sits down, Lucian will look up from her book. Caleb, there's something that I've been meaning to talk to you about.
Yes? Yes?
Well, I don't know exactly how to talk to you about this, so I'm just going to come out and say it. And I'm sorry if it comes out a little rude.
Well, it can't be that bad.
I will prelude with this. I care about you a lot. And I did not like that you used one of your questions to find out about Summer. Because, you know, I've met Summer, and I could have easily seen if she was okay for you, and I would do that for you if you had asked. I just really think that you could have gotten, you know, maybe a little bit more out of them.
Well, I got what I wanted. Besides, Summer was the one who was someone that we were trusting to maybe make something to deal with the Ichor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure she was okay for that, too.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm sorry, it never really crossed my mind that maybe you, I don't know about Zephyr, but maybe you, maybe Gil, I don't know, but maybe you were worried about her, and it never really crossed my mind, and I am sorry for that, and I try to be more mindful of that, I guess. Do you want want me to check on her for you every now and then?
I don't think we need to do it too often.
Well, what I mean
I mean, I'm
is,
sure
like,
we'll eventually be heading that way anyways.
well, to get a wicket, probably, unless somewhere in Aragos or in Sundragon there is a way to, I don't know, teleport or something. That sounds crazy, I know, but, like,
And I wasn't
maybe if
just
there's a
asking
wizard
about
or
summer. I
something.
also, was asking about my close friend. Caleb kind of looks away whenever he says that.
Well, I don't know about your close friend, and I
Well,
am
they
glad
told me he was
that
fine.
yeah, I am glad that your friend is good. Like your friend is okay. But I could not send your friend a message because I do not know who this person is. But I could have sent a message to Summer, so you could have had one extra question. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say
Well, I
that maybe you
have
could.
decided how the question was used.
Well, I guess as long as you feel like you got a
I don't
good
know what I
deal.
would have asked if I didn't ask that.
Okay. Because I don't know, I guess I just wanted to let you know that I'm here for you, and I know that we all don't know each other very well, and there's still a lot of trust issues that we are working out, and her gaze kind of shifts over to Zephyr, and
He's
then
in
back to
he's in-
Caleb.
Isn't Zephyr in like the like bed?
Back.
Well, you guys haven't gotten picked back up yet. You guys are still at the cafe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then back to Caleb. I want us all to be friends, and I want us all to be able to travel and to laugh and to have a good time while we are trying to, save our country. I want that for us. And I want that for you, because it seems to me that you really want us to be friends, right?
Yeah, I don't have any problems with you at all. Well, other than the arguing, but that's really more your problem with Zephyr than anything.
Zephyr and I are just really too different. We are very, very different. She looks like she wants
Like
to
you
say
said, we haven't
people.
known each other for very long, so these things can get worked out.
Well, maybe someday we can come to an understanding of each other. I don't know. And I really don't like not knowing.
You're all gathered at this table on the outside of the cafe, listening as Lucian and Caleb talk. Is there anything left you guys would like to do before Barry Road returns and takes you away from Edict?
No, I think Caleb's good.
Anyone else have anything they want to say or do?
Nope. I'm good.
Okay.
Nope.
Another about 5 minutes pass as those of you who got breakfast tuck into it. Before you hear the familiar rumble of Barry Road's truck returning. Now carting along a small, almost cart behind it, but heavy and made out of very dense materials. Carting along a fairly sizable metal container. Almost like think of it almost as like a stumpy shipping train car being like pulled along behind this truck. And Barry, as he pulls into the parking lot of this cafe, honks the horn again. and leans out the window. Come on, fellas, we're burning cave light.
All right. I will grab my stuff.
And I would then look at my 2 pitchers of coffee grounds. Like, hey, Caleb, can I put these in your bag?
Okay.
Gil, you
I think
deposit.
we might need these for Lucian later.
You deposit the 2 jugs of coffee grounds into the bag of holding. And one by one, you guys
In my inventory of bag of holding.
Mm-hmm. And one by one, you guys file back into your sitting positions you had taken before in the seats of Barry Rhodes' truck. The doors close, and he begins to pull away back onto the street and begins to chug down them. Caleb, sitting comfortably at the front in the comfortable leather seating. Lucian, reclining in the back with your newly acquired books to read. And Neon, Caro, and Garrow. Gil, in the back with your view of the city behind you being somewhat obstructed by this metallic container being pulled along behind you. Zephyr in the back as well. The seat's a little large for you, as most things are. As the truck putters down the streets and away from the city. What view you guys can have that isn't obstructed by the metal container? You see the strange buildings and structures, alien when you first entered, but somewhat familiar to you now, begin to get cloaked.
Caleb gets a great view.
Get cloaked in the smog and ever-present haze of Lower Edict. Neon, leaving behind the life you've built. All of you leaving behind associates and something akin to friends you've made in the city. As the truck pulls past the docks where the brokers operate and begins to funnel across the wastelands close to where the Reapers operate. Zephyr, the distance you've had to cross numerous times during your dealings with the Reapers, like getting crossed so fast in this vehicle. As the truck pulls not quite into Reaper territory, but begins to almost like skirt the outside of it, whether Barry knows about the Reapers or not, encircles the mountains of junk and scrap, the den of the drug traffickers of Edict, before coming to a stop at what a place you guys have not seen yet, almost buried in trash and metallic parts. And Neon, at a glance, you can even see a few discarded machines and constructs that have been left to rot here. This pile of discard far, far away from Edict, the city now distant across this massive cavern, as Barry steps out of the truck with his hands on his hips and begins to survey the cave wall, looking it over very carefully as if looking for something.
Can I help you with something, Barry?
I got it. Hold on. And after a moment's delay, he approaches the nearest mountain of junk and kind of moves and shifts some of it aside, and Lucian and Caleb having the best view of this, the two of you almost immediately get flashes of when you had to work together to escape the Bank of Mercurial, the lever that was hidden beneath the pile of treasure, easily missed and ignored to someone who doesn't know where to look. He pulls and pushes aside some heavy metallic parts before reaching his hand beneath a discarded security robot, and you all watch as a crack runs up the seemingly natural rock wall and begins to pull aside. This massive cave mouth being opened up in the wall. Neon, you've lived here for years and had never seen this before. But Barry just steps away and dusts off his hands before returning to the truck and closing the door as this massive cave mouth finally stops rumbling, seeming to have opened as much as it's going to.
Well, I'm certainly impressed.
He looks over his shoulder to give you a smile in the back, Neon. Yep, this is a way out of the city that the Reapers and Mother take whenever they want to do some dealings out of the public eye. Nobody comes out this far unless they want to be here and know where they're going, after all. And he pulls on the stick shift of the truck, and it begins to rattle with the cargo crate in tow down into the cave mouth. While some would argue you were there already, depending on where your true definition begins, I think now more than ever it is appropriate to say, for some of you the first time, welcome to the Underdark.
Ooh.
Unless any of you feel like making checks, the Underdark is a place that most of you have only heard about. It is, by the true definition of what it is, varies from person to person. Some say that the Underdark begins where the surface world stops. Anything that goes beneath the earth that isn't on your own 2 feet is the Underdark. Others make the argument that, no, it's if you go underground for 3 days, or, oh, it's where you go when you die. Others say that if there is not a city down there, it is not truly the Underdark. But whatever your definition, the result is the same. The Underdark is the world below us. The world of creatures foreign to all on the surface. The world where things that cannot or choose not to live in the sunlight come down here, living in entire worlds completely untouched by the surface.
Could we find a vampire?
Depends on where you're looking, but we're kind of in the wrong place for vampires. Geography doesn't suit them.
Man, oh well.
He flicks a button on the dashboard, and the cave is immediately alight from the bright lights on the front of the truck. This massive cave mouth as he drives his truck into the darkness. It's outside of the light from the headlamps, pitch black. You all, again, just with the passing knowledge, know that this is a dangerous place, full of creatures that most people have never seen, and those who are unlucky enough to have don't return. Neon, the Peacekeepers always said to not go too deep. Anything beyond the outskirts of the city was, frankly, not the Peacekeepers' problem.
Too deep.
Lucian, your father often referenced the Underdark in his studies. The strange alien life below the surface often being valuable subjects, albeit theoretical. And Caro, you would probably have the closest of anyone in this group to intimate experience with the Underdark, if one does not count Edict as connected to it. You've never been there yourself, but your party talked about it frequently. And while various adventuring quests requesting delving into the Underdark are not unheard of. Your group never took them, but you know those who have typically do not return, or if they do, it's often with a couple fewer party members than when they started.
Ooh, this place is dangerous.
Yeah. Everyone, eyes front, ears sharp.
I kind of make a bookmark where I am, and I just look and listen.
And
Make a perception check.
And Gil's gonna look and listen, excited, like, please come on out. Please,
You want
please
to
come
fight?
out. Yes.
Gil
wants to try
also,
out his new gloves.
Gil, also make me a perception check.
I want to make one specifically to listen for things because I believe I have advantage when it comes to listening.
All right, make me a perception check with advantage.
I will do that thing.
All right, one at a time. Lucian,
23.
Gil,
25.
Neon.
I got a 14 and then a 17.
All right. The three of you, even more attentively than the rest of the party, you're quiet and you listen. Nothing immediately jumps out to you. You don't hear or see anything that catches your mind as unusual. You see the occasional ahul, a bat-like creature that is not unheard of on the surface, nor is it unheard of for them to live deep in caves, nesting on the ceiling, some very large and watching as the truck passes quickly, but with how fast you're going and how much noise you're making, the smaller creatures of this cavern do not bother with you. An hour passes. 2, 3. It's that exhausting sense that you aren't completely safe, but there is no immediate danger to give you that release from that caution. The life of the Underdark, if it's here, seems to be ignoring you. And that's more unsettling than if you were just being attacked, at least from the stories you've heard. Another hour passes, 2 more. After a while, you've all been on the road for closing in on 6 hours now. Just down and down and down.
Caleb's probably fallen asleep in the chair by now.
Yeah.
Oh, Lucian is like, she kind of goes back and forth from her book, but like is kind of going back and forth, like reading a few things, but like also looks around, reads a few things, looks around.
Okay. Caleb, as you slowly nod
Constant
off.
surveillance.
Mm-hmm. Lucian, you kind of cautiously will read a few passages of your book before reaffirming that everything is fine. Gil, in the back, you have your head poking out from the open back of the cart, just watching the rapidly passing and pitch black cave walls and ceiling. What are the rest of you doing?
How fast is the car going?
Do you want to actually try to estimate speed, or are you more just kind of like trying to gauge like a rough guesstimate?
Just, I guess a rough guesstimate fine. Just like, are we just going a slow pace or a fast pace?
You're going at a pretty fast speed by your standards, although you can tell that like the car is going deliberately a bit slower than it could at its top speed, possibly to avoid like not being able to stop fast enough in the event that something pops up.
Hmm.
So you're going pretty fast. Definitely faster than you could run, but not so blindingly fast that Barry couldn't bring the truck to a quick halt if the need arose.
Mm-hmm. Fast. I mean, it's still pretty fast.
Mm.
Alrighty then.
Zephyr, you kind of poke your head out briefly to kind of gauge the speed of the truck. Caro and Neon, what are the two of you doing?
Carol's just curled up against Garrow, like just kind of peering over the passing landscapes.
And Neon just has their eyes closed and is just kind of like fidgeting with their hands a bit.
All right. A final 2 hours pass, 8 hours of nonstop movement in total before the truck begins to slow and come to a stop. And Barry, throwing a sympathetic glance to Caleb asleep in the side seat, looks over his shoulder and, keeping his voice rather low to avoid waking the young boy, looks over all of you. I can keep going, but there's a safe place not far from here if we want to stop for a little while.
I think that. I mean, are you okay? Do you want to keep going, or do you think you'll need to stop for the night?
He kind of taps the wheel of the car in thought. You guys looking for a speedy trip, or do you want to play it safe?
What do you think would please her the most?
Not worried about pleasing.
And I kind of agree with your friend. I'm not looking to risk my own skin more than I already have to. I have a business I need to be alive to actually do.
Same here. So I think maybe stopping for the night may be wise.
All right. Yeah, it'll just be a couple more minutes then. You guys pack your things. Like I said, anything you leave in the truck is mine. And I hope you guys brought food, because hunting's not going to do you much good down here. I mean, there is stuff, but, you know, it's... And he kind of, like, rubs his stomach and winces a little bit.
What, there's not, like, mushrooms down there?
Is it mushrooms? Is it, like...
It's a variety of stuff, but edible is in big air quotes. And he opens the door nearest to him for a moment and takes a careful look around before closing it and starting the truck back up. He gently nudges you, Caleb, as the truck continues to move. We're almost to a rest stop. You can go back to bed as soon as we set up camp.
Okay.
Wanted to make sure you had time to wake up.
Yeah, I will take the time to get out Chime as well out of my backpack.
All right, you pull the small round drone from your bag, and as it kind of slowly awakens, its large blue eye looks up to you.
Hello, Chime. Are you ready to get to work? We're gonna go get some sleep, and you're going to do a good job, right? Give it a little scratch.
Caleb, like, stretches as he wakes up.
The truck putters more for a little bit further before coming to a stop. With the glow of the headlamps, you all see the truck has come to a stop in a large cavernous opening in the seemingly endless tunnel that you've been traveling down. There is a very, very faint glow on the ceiling, which prevents it from being pitch black, combined with the headlamps of the truck. But even those are quickly diminished as Barry shuts the truck off and steps out of it and allows all of you exit as well. Looking around, you find yourself in a relatively large, almost rectangularly shaped cavern. There is a tunnel going further ahead, and a few smaller tunnels branching off of that one. But Barry holds up a hand as you all survey the area. I know which way we're going. This area isn't super frequently trafficked. It's the safest place as any to sleep, unless you guys plan to sleep in the truck.
Yeah. Gil will
Caleb
get out.
will go to set up a spot for him to sleep.
I'm gonna get all my stuff, make sure I have everything. Check and then double check.
Mm-hmm. Chime follows behind you happily. Does anyone have any specific things they'd like to do while setting up camp, or are you guys just gonna set up as you normally do?
Just normal.
All right.
Yeah,
Those of you
normal.
All right. Those of you who did not purchase refreshment at the cafe, knock a day of water from your water skin and a day of rations from your supply.
Caleb ate at the thing.
Yeah, and the pay included a beverage, so you don't have to knock off water either. So yeah, everyone who bought stuff at the cafe is good to go. And as you guys settle in and dip into your rations and supplies, who, if anyone, is going to set up a campfire?
Well,
Do you need specific stuff for a campfire?
I will.
I can get the flame started if you want.
Oh, don't worry, young lady, that won't be
I'm gonna
necessary.
look around.
All right, Gil, make me a. Well, what are you looking for?
Stuff to burn.
Make an investigation check.
No.
Also, I have a quick question about the ghost armor.
What's that?
So Caleb becomes like incorporeal, like he becomes like unphysical for the moment.
Yes.
Could he use that to avoid being hit by a weapon?
It basically only makes you incorporeal for that turn, but I will say if you used it to essentially act as a disengage, I would allow that.
Or could he use it to like, because it's a bonus action, could he like attempt to run away from someone that's in melee range and use that so that he can't be hit by an opportunity attack?
Yeah, I'd allow that.
Well, I would say, as much as that would, yeah, that definitely is good. Or you're also a rogue. Disengage is a bonus action, so.
No, that's part of the reason I'm allowing it. It's basically just a fancy way of him taking the disengage action.
Fair enough.
And that's a 16.
Gil, as you navigate around, you don't immediately see anything that looks flammable. There does not appear to be much in the way of plant matter, other than the very, very occasional small mushroom. But they're very small and frail. And while there is clearly nature of some kind down here, Caro, as someone very attuned with it, like, you kind of get a sense similar to what you had in Edict, albeit less so, just the sense of, like, this environment is unfamiliar and unnatural. But Lucian, as you suggest starting a fire and Gil's already searching for materials, Barry interrupts you to tell you that will not be necessary and gives a smirk and gets all of you guys' attention and gestures to the ceiling. that faint glow you all saw begins to get a little bit less faint. Gil, you don't see this in your intensive search for burning material, checking the walls and flooring, but all of you see that light begin to get a little bit closer. And you see what you had thought was maybe like glowing gems similar to what's in Upper Edict or something similar is actually very small, almost firefly-like creatures. These small... Caro, you would be the most familiar with this. Something akin to mites. Almost gnat-like creatures descending from the ceilings, all of them like very, very faintly glowing. And you watch as this cloud of them almost like follows behind Gil as he's searching before clinging to exposed parts of his gauntlet. And as they cling to his gauntlet, they all begin to glow bright colors, like filling up most of the cavern with their light.
I think we like you, Gil.
And
I found
Lucian,
light.
yeah, Gil, as you hold up your gauntlets, they're starting to get covered with these insects and glowing brightly. And all of you see some of them beginning to approach you as well. Any of your exposed armor and weapons, these insects cling to in clumps, and as soon as they make contact with anything metallic, they begin to glow. And soon the cavern is just brightly lit up like a Christmas tree as all of you are basically walking light shows. Even Barry himself chuckling a little bit as he looks over his now brightly glowing laser pistol.
Can I?
They are beautiful. Do they bite?
Nah, completely harmless, actually.
Can I grab one and eat it?
Absolutely. There's like a million of them, so yeah, Carrie, you just start like eating some of them up.
Lucian looks a little unsettled by this.
These are light steel mites. They're... What's up?
I was just going. You mentioned those mushrooms that I was seeing as I was looking around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you see them,
Can I pick them? I want to see what kind of mushrooms they are.
can I help? Maybe see if they're edible or not.
Gil, make a nature check with advantage.
Well, I was going to let Lucian look at them.
Lucian, make a nature check with advantage.
While they do that, I'm just gonna fill up my water.
With what?
My water. I'll fill up my water skin with water.
Oh, right, yes, decanter of endless water. Got it.
I'm gonna kind of like pour that in as I say the word stream.
All right. Zephyr, just ignoring the brightly colored insects clinging to you, you fill up your water skin from your decanter. Lucian, what was your nature check?
23.
You recognize this mushroom as it's not a mushroom that grows natively in Yav, but you have heard of it from your alchemical and medicinal studies. It does have some mild medicinal properties, but tastes like absolute garbage.
Oh, you don't want this, Gil. It is trash. It's. Have you ever had like the worst medicine ever? That is made out of this.
Yes, Lucian, you would know that this mushroom is often used in, as you said, the very bitter medicines in places like the Baraka Isles or Perugia, where the mushroom is natively grown.
These are more for like meditation. Oh, you know what? I'm going to keep these. I'm going to put some of these in my backpack.
All right. You have a small clump of medicinal but horribly tasting mushrooms. Zephyr, you fill up your water skin, and for those of you who had asked, Barry raises an eyebrow as Lucian fawns over the mushrooms and looks to the rest of you. Like I was saying, light steel mites aren't harmful to anyone. They just glow like that when they're trying to eat something that's conductive. They're eating our armor and weapons, but it's such microscopic damage we wouldn't notice.
Interesting. I usually do not find insects interesting, but this is very interesting.
Well,
And it
you're not
won't
gonna...
hurt our stuff, right?
Nope. Bear in mind, these things usually eat things like dust particles. The damage they're doing to your stuff is so microscopic you'd never notice, even if they sat there eating it for years.
What is microscopical?
It's very, very little. Like, you have to look through it through a microscope.
Very small. The point is very
He's
small.
gonna have this, like... Oh, okay, I can understand that.
I can understand that one.
Remind me when we go to my house back in Wicked to show you my microscope. She's trying to say microscope, but like the accent is like throwing me off.
Hear that, big guy? You're gonna get to see the lady's microscope.
Yes!
It's not what you think.
Caleb is just like,
Medical equipment.
Caleb's just like, gross.
Gross.
Yeah, Lucian is also like gross.
Anyway, that's why I said we won't need torches. These little guys will keep the cavern lit up for us, and that should draw off anything that might find us interesting. But just in case, we'll probably want to have some of us standing guard through the night. But I'm sure that's routine for you guys.
Chime. I've also got Chime, you know.
Oh yeah, think your little bot can keep a watch over the cave then?
Oh yeah, I think Chime is up to it, don't you? Aren't you, little Chime? Yeah, it is a good little thing. Yes, you are.
Barry gives a slight smile and says, all right. Oh, and I wouldn't recommend trying to squish these little guys if you get annoyed with them. It's not dangerous, but it just makes it stain your stuff.
So,
does anybody have a jar?
Not on me. I might have some in the glove compartment somewhere.
I want to keep these as an experiment.
Let me see if I have a jar I can spare. And he jogs back to the truck to throw it open and dig through the frontal compartments. Caro, are you still just dining on light steel might?
Yeah.
A meal fit for a very tiny frog.
Yeah.
How do her teeth look?
As it stains her inside.
Why do you think she has teeth?
Are they stained?
Well, Caro, as a frog person, does not have teeth. However, yes, you do see that Caro's tongue is glowing vibrantly. So every time she opens her mouth, it just looks like a disco.
I want to start crushing up some of those bugs, and I want to start like decking out Morrigan and some like really sick patterns.
Sure. All right. Do you have any pattern in mind?
Can I help?
Not
Neon?
really, just kind of. No.
Yeah, Gil, Neon seems to not want you
He'll
interfering.
just draw it himself.
So Gil and Neon, the two of you, with Gil the cave wall and Neon your mech as your canvas, you just start drawing fun little designs in stained light steel might blood on the sides of Morgan, making fantastical little designs that, sure enough, glow brightly and colorfully.
I'd like to see what it is like in the light. I bet you that it would make very interesting ink.
Well,
And I'm just like tracing over my tattoos.
all right. So Gil, you draw over your Gyogren tattoos with light steel might blood, and Lucian Barry speaks up as he returns with a jar under his arm. Well, the ink isn't a bad idea, actually, but in the light, it just looks like a mess of paints. And he sees Neon painting on Morgan. Well, hope you weren't intending to make that stealthy. Although, granted, it's pretty big. I guess that probably wasn't on your agenda, was it, little guy?
I just turned towards him, like, completely deadpan, like, looking straight in the eyes, just... Do you know what kind of weapons Morrigan has?
Right.
Oh no.
Far be it from me to disrespect a man's machine. Anyway, here's your jar, princess. And he hands you a fairly sizable mason jar filled with a somewhat, dark yellow liquid.
I inspect
Um,
it. What did you just give me? Did you just? I know what this is. I have a feeling I know what this is.
Make an investigation check.
Oh dear.
Probably.
They just gave her this.
Probably.
Is this Matthew? Is this a reference to Girardi?
It's more just a reference to truckers in general that do this.
I can attest
16.
that my grandfather
16.
did.
Lucian, you don't exactly need a degree to know that Barry strikes you as someone who travels very frequently and is not exactly able to pull over and stop a lot of the time. You know what this is.
I make my deductions and I give back the jar. Appreciated. But
Should I have emptied it out first?
yes, as interesting, you really should drink more.
I mean, that's what the jar is for. He drinks like.
Just a question. How dark is it? Like, should you be drinking more?
You get the impression, yeah, probably.
Should I make a medicine check?
Yeah, sure. Make a medicine check with advantage.
Oh my god, a natural 20!
Yes, he definitely needs to be drinking a bit more. You get the impression he dehydrates himself somewhat.
You should probably drink more water, and, I'm glad that your kidney's working, but, if you're thirsty, maybe drink.
Thanks, Mom. He gives you a smirk and takes the jar back. Whatever. I don't think you deserve this anyway. And he sticks his tongue out at you playfully.
She looks around confused, like, what?
You'll understand when you're older, kid.
I'm just saying, as a medical professional, that is very disconcerting, just saying.
After some time, you all, those who need to eat, tuck into your rations and water skins. All of you still glowing brightly and colorfully from the light steel mites. As Barry returns and sits with his back against the cave wall and crosses his legs and puts his hands behind his head. Well, if the princess's bot is going to be keeping watch through the night, then I suggest you all get some sleep. We should be getting where we're trying to go late tomorrow afternoon. Going to be a lot of driving, but we'll get you there. Certainly faster than if you tried to go back to the surface.
All right, and then I will go ahead and set up the bot and go to sleep.
All right. Does anyone have anything specific they want to do before tucking in for a long rest?
Gil's just going to go to sleep for his only 4 hours that's required. And then he's going to stay up and watch, make sure nothing sneaks up on the bot.
Oh, yeah. I feel like maybe Lucian and Gil can maybe take turns doing that. Like, do you like Lucian can stay up reading for a little while?
Basically just a normal watch.
For 4 hours.
So a normal watch?
Yeah, a normal watch.
So defeats the purpose of the bot.
Alright. Both of you make me perception checks then.
Okay.
25.
Lucian.
Natural 1.
All right. You all settle in for sleep, but so you're all still awake at this point, just getting ready for bed. As Barry, looking over all of you, speaks up. It's not really any of my business, but I'll admit I'm curious. This you guys' first time running errands for Mommy Dearest.
Yeah.
First and only.
Yes.
Yeah, she doesn't strike me as the type who collects repeat customers. So what does she have on you?
Nothing.
She has a friend.
Well, we simply made a deal, but our friend were collateral.
They didn't tell me everything, just the basics that they thought I should know. It's not any of my business. Like I said, I don't intend to rat you out unless she pays, but why you guys got it out for the Ergos president so bad?
She's a part of the bigger picture, let's just say.
Yeah, running a country will do that, I suppose.
Well, she's a part of a group of people that kind of wants us dead. All of us.
I can understand why. You strike me as very popular people.
I know, right?
Well, stick around us a bit longer and you'll find out.
You ever been to Argos before?
Have I?
Not since it became the Argos Republic. Although, Gil, I will say, you would remember. You were fairly young when it happened, but you have definitely heard the stories and were alive when it happened. But to see how much you remember, make me a history check, but I'll give you advantage since this directly concerns your
I'm going
country
to
of origin.
assume that in his very short life, Caleb has never been to this place.
Actually, you make me a history check also. So Gil with advantage, Caleb straight roll.
19.
Okay, 19. Caleb?
9.
Okay, does anyone else want to roll?
Maybe I can roll for the history of it. I know I haven't been there, but maybe I've read books and stuff.
Go for it.
Cool.
Anyone else? All right. So Gil, Caleb, Lucian, history.
Hang on, my dice ran away.
Tell them to stop.
Tell them that next time they do it, they're not coming back.
My dice ran away. Well, you better tell them to stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna re-roll it since
It looks like it.
I don't know what it was because it hit the floor. Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Low, low, low.
While you're rolling, I will go ahead and give everyone else their things. Caleb, you actually...
23.
Oh, 23? All right.
Yeah.
Caleb, you have heard the name before. You've never been there, but you do know that your parents, your birth parents, occasionally had to pass through that area to get to where they intended to go. But as one kingdom of thieves to another, the Tibadran Kingdom and Argos Republic have always been rather friendly with each other, although more in the sense of they have shared interests than actually getting along. Your parents didn't tell you too much about it, other than that it was a place that they could always count on for a place to set up camp without any risk of being attacked. The Argos Republic had an understanding of letting them pass through in exchange for a shared benefit in reverse and a potential share of the spoils.
Interesting.
Gil, you know that the Argos Republic was created a fairly not insanely long ago, within the last century, but by your standards and for the standards of Gyogre, that is relatively recent. You know that the lands that used to be the Argos Republic were once Gyogran territory. Prosperous, bustling, and the centerpiece of their grip on the northwestern chunk of Yav. However, the Argos Republic was created when the Thieves Guild, the branch of the Thieves Guild operating on this region, nobody knows how they got it or where the money came from. All anyone remembers is that the Gyogran generals had so much money offered to them by the Thieves Guild that in the end they basically had no choice but to give up their claim on the land. The Thieves Guild had enough money to literally buy a country from one of the biggest imperial powers in the land and keep it. Since then, you know that the Argos Republic has become the domain of primarily dark elves, a type of elf that does not typically coexist with Gyogre, although you don't know them to have a particularly strict claim on anywhere else in Yav beyond the Argos Republic. Although you would know that their native terrain is the Underdark, and given how close you are to Argos and in the Underdark right now, you imagine there is likely some form of connection there, but that is what you know. And Lucian, scouring your memory for any just snippets of history you recall of the Argos Republic, you know that, as with most Dark Elves, they are while they are a republic, given that they were founded by the Thieves Guild, money tends to drive their society to front and back. You do know that with the Dark Elves holding the primary seat of power, the Argos Republic is a theocracy. Religion is a very powerful force in their society, as almost all Dark Elves are loyally dedicated to the worship of Arachne, the spider goddess. However, beyond that, you don't know too much. The Argos Republic has always been rather quiet, although you would know that sometime before the incident, as we'll call it, a rumor circulating through the political spectrum of Yav was that there was speculation between politicians that you occasionally heard snippets of, that the Queen Wyborn possibly was blackmailing President Argos, as the Argos Republic was giving up land and money and resources to the Kingdom of Wyborn, this young upstart kingdom that just seemingly popped up out of nowhere one day not long ago. So the prevailing theory among the political spectrum is that Queen Wyborn has some kind of string attached to President Argos that's keeping her in check and forcing her to bend to the Wyborn Kingdom's will. And the Argos Republic is slowly losing power to their basically indentured servitude to the neighboring kingdom.
Interesting.
Bonds.
So that is collectively what the three of you know of the Argos Republic. They are allies to Tebedra and to thieves in general, founded by the Thieves Guild, who built up enough money somehow to buy land from the Gyogran territories, and that President Argos seems to be in a very one-sided partnership with Queen Wyborn, who has been stealing land and resources from the Republic bit by bit over the last few decades.
So obviously not a military might to worry about.
They have a military, but they're not a military powerhouse. However, you do know that the Argos Republic does employ pretty noteworthy guilds of assassins. Basically, they use mercenaries in place of a standing army.
Makes sense.
That, I will say, well, I've never been there myself, but I've read a few books.
And what do the books tell you?
It's no better than any other country. They put the dollar in idolatry, I guess.
Well, I'll give you that much. like I said, I don't know how far we intend to travel together as a group or anything. I have my own business with the president once we get to Argos, but I figured it would only be fair for me to give you guys a bit of a heads up of what to expect, because there's something about Argos that I figure you guys probably don't already know.
Well, I've heard, well, before I heard many rumors that perhaps Queen Wyborn might have something on her. Do you think that she is being forced?
That's not the wording I would use, and he has kind of a smirk on his face.
They're lovers, aren't they?
That's not the word I would use either. Look.
There's something.
Look, I'm not really super invested in that sort of thing. It's just stuff I've heard in my time on the road. But if you want my personal theory on the matter, I mean, look at them. President Aragos is a dark elf, and he kind of like pulls his green goggles over his eyes. I'm not exactly an expert on the matter, but far as I've heard, they're matriarchal, aren't they? Women tend to be the ones in charge.
Yes.
So, she's a young girl, brought up to believe that people like her should be the ones in charge. And, I mean, have you seen Queen Wyborn?
She's very beautiful.
Far as I see it, it's just naive person being taken advantage of.
So maybe she just needs to be talked to. Maybe she just needs some education. Yeah, guidance. I was going to say education, but guidance is probably better wording.
Like I said, this is all just my theory. Just stuff I've heard in the underground while traveling around. For all I know, maybe there's something else going on. Maybe it is blackmail, or maybe they are working together and President Aragos is just bad at it.
Well, we did see them together once, and they did seem rather very, very close.
Well, I suppose that's fair. But you're going to have your work cut out for you if you tend to talk to her or kill her, whichever you decide to do.
I think that's going a little far. I don't think that killing anybody is necessary.
He kind of raises an eyebrow at you.
I'll throw it if it comes down to it, but
No.
I'd rather not have to.
That's not necessary, Gil, because like I said, she is just a girl. She just needs to be educated, or like you said, guided. I think that maybe she needs to see that there are other women in power that are worth, looking towards. Like Sundragon, for example. Look at her. She's, like, really awesome. And Queen Wicked. She's really awesome, too. So, if she wants to look at people in power, look at the other women who are in power. So, I'm just saying, maybe she just needs direction. I don't think slitting throats is going to get us anywhere.
Again, what if the first option did?
What you all decide to do with her in the end isn't my business. I just want to make sure you guys aren't running in totally blind. Annoying as some of you are, you seem friendly enough. We're going down deep enough that you may forget that we're underground at all. Things get strange down here. And have any of you ever seen a dragon in person before? And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Wow. What a line.
hear
Yeah,
any of
I'm
that.
sorry. What did he say before the dragon thing?
Basically saying that you guys are going to go so far down into the Underdark that you may forget that you're underground to begin with because of how weird things get.
I didn't
And then
hear
he said, "You ever
anything.
seen a dragon in person before?"
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my
So,
goodness. What if Caro tames a dragon?
Dragons are sentient, though.
So
Friends.
What?
the party has left the city of Edict, taking on a job from the mother to investigate the disappearance of her trading caravans to the Argos Republic down in the Underdark. The party has, for now, decided to travel with the mysterious elven gentleman Barry Road and his advanced vehicular transport, who has a job of his own to the mother he intends to complete. Saying goodbye to the advanced city of dreams in their wake, Officer Neon seeming to have joined the party for good as they travel further and further away from the city they called home.
His downfall.
The party is now being given more information on the Argos Republic, a land of thieves and brigands being led by a somewhat isolated and uncertain young girl who, by the going theories of the political world, seems to have been manipulated into a one-sided relationship with Queen Wyborn. As the party bandies to kill or not to kill, Barry Road reveals that there may be draconic issues on the horizon. As we begin arc number 4 of Black Ink and Blue Blood, Dragons, Dragons, Dragons.
Oh my goodness.
Please check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Check the link that's about to be posted in chat for our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly, and support our episodes posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts at. Check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our Kobold Rogues Twitch channel at twitch.tv/AustinFreak123. Thanks all of you so much for playing. Thanks everyone at home so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Yeah. I mean, before we end it, I would say, tomorrow we're doing stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Amanda, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, we're starting a brand new thing called D 5.5, where we will be, I guess, creating new content within content with Black Ink and Blue Blood stuff. With questions, if you guys have questions, we will gladly answer those questions. Don't know.
Don't know.
I wasn't prepared.
Yes, tomorrow at, I presume, our usual streaming time, we will be answering any questions we have for each other or you guys have for us. A behind-the-scenes look at the world building and character design of Black Ink and Blue Blood. Scheduling may adjust or change as we go, but that is something that is in the works, so look forward to that. And if that's everything, we will see you all next week.